and that is that when you used a very good word, experiment, and when you experiment with your materials, what happens is that you can use something so um, different in terms of directional ways of achieving an image that you innovate. And the innovation becomes a miraculous part of the journey of being creative because
Hmm.
you're finding out just how many different resources and options you have to communicate visually and how you can play with the materials where you're creating different parameters and different opportunities or borders that are not really fixed. They're always able to be challenged and to be opened up and to be pushed further in
Hmm.
terms of the option to use them to the best advantage that you can.
Very good
So what
point.
you were saying is wonderful. I mean, it was great.
No, I appreciate it. Um, I can't remember who said this exactly. Um, I think it was an artist who said this was that um, not only do we have that kind of experimentation as artists, but people who they were talking about how a painting itself is a living object in the sense that everyone who comes to view it, they bring their own experiences, their own thoughts, their own past to it, and it affects them all in a different way. And over time, it that experience can change them, but that change is it's different for every person who encounters the art. And in that sense, this, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy's name. He was saying that the art itself is alive because it has this ability to affect people in this way. I thought that was pretty profound, and I think it's true.
I think you're right. Um, I whenever I have been to a museum, I go very close to the work of art.
Mm,
I don't violate the space for someone else, but I try very much to look at the quality of the paint or the
hmm.
drawing that
Hmm.
was created, because exactly what we're talking about, that that stroke of the pencil or of a piece of charcoal or pen and ink or the brush, that work that was put in that moment, maybe 300 years ago or later in time, or just maybe 2 years ago or 10, it doesn't matter. That stroke and application of the painting material has continuity. It lives on.
Yes.
And you really feel that even though the artist doesn't exist anymore historically, that so much of their energy went into creating that
Hmm.
stroke and the way the lines and the way it flows in terms of the meandering movement um, of the way the image is created. And so, yes, I mean, I'm always fascinated by the fact that the work maybe has a certain expiration date in terms of the artist when they passed away, but the work itself has absolutely no expiration date. It lives on and it continues to breathe and it continues to offer you and I and everyone else who wants to look at a work of art, it's able to generate the life of someone's imagination and someone's skills that they had to be able to use their materials and to discover new ways of applying the materials. It's a fascinating process.
Totally agree, Stephen. It really is fascinating. And I do the same thing. I'm waiting for the guard in the museum to come up and say, grab me by the back of the neck and, hey, you can't get that close.
Right, right.
But um, I am also fascinated by getting close to an artwork and taking a close look at the materials and the texture, the surface, um, and it's almost as if and I also I want to know what you think about this. It's like the you were mentioning they have like you were saying a line that has a certain energy that even though it was put down, it could be many years, 100 years ago or more. It still has this energy of the artist. His intent is still there, and we could still and I think literally, I think we could feel that. It's almost that like that energy is encoded in um, in the artwork,
Mhm.
in the it's like the energy of the artist while they're creating gets impressed into the actual artwork itself.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, actually like
Imprinted. Yeah,
imprinted, imprinted. And so when we're viewing the artwork and especially up close, but um, you get a not only a visual uh, appreciation or impact of what you're looking at, but you get a visceral impact of the work itself, of that energy that's encoded in the work.
I think it's beautifully said. Excellent.
Oh, very cool. So you also you feel like that's the case.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Uh, I used to go to the Brooklyn Museum when I was living in Brooklyn, and there was one painting. I don't remember the artist's name, but it had a certain kind of a. It was from the 1880s, and it was a part of the Art Nouveau style.
Mm,
And I fell in love uh, with the stylistic, um, ornate compositions of Art Nouveau because of their emphasis on linear compositions,
mm,
lines,
mm,
very, very floral, elegant lines that you would see in a vine or in a plant. And that was their inspiration, looking at nature. And I remember walking away from that painting and being so um, touched by the elegance and the
mm,
sensuality of the use of lines to create that vitality and that movement within the in the drawing or the canvas. And whenever I have gone again to a major museum, whether it be in New York or even in Europe, and I've seen a Jackson Pollock with the drip paintings, and knowing that unfortunately he passed away in 1956 from a car accident. If you look at his composition surfaces, there is such an enormous amount of energy and vitality
mhm,
uh, and presence in the way the paint is applied, the way it's built up and scattered, giving that kind of relief, that kind of collage effect to the material of paint. But still, you see those lines that he put down, hundreds and thousands of lines that he was creating on a canvas. So
Mhm.
yes, that is pertinent and relevant to every artist where you go to their work, and just like what you said, you you feel the vibrance and their life that was encoded, encrypted, imprinted into the work that lives on.
Very well said. I love that example of Jackson Pollock. He had such an interesting life, but it was cut short, no question about it. And what a pioneer. I mean, and he, there was a film done about him, and you've probably seen it.
Yes, it was terrific. Yes.
It was great. And I think it probably was pretty accurate. The one part that I'm remembering is that he, as he was developing his artwork, he often had friends that come over and art critics, and but he expressed his insecurities when someone would critique his work and say, well, I don't really think that's this part of the painting works, or was before he got to his splatter paintings, but and they showed in the movie how he kind of flipped out and he would grab that painting and um, he would start to just work on it right away and change everything because
Yeah.
somebody made some comment here or there. And, um, when an artist like that is moving and pushing the boundaries, other people around them, they don't really understand what they're doing. And it's not appreciated, valued until afterwards, in retrospect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he expressed that, as we were talking about, that insecurity of creating, because I think, and I'll ask you the question, well, just finish up here. They, as an artist, many times you feel like you're pushing beyond a certain boundary of yourself that you're pushing into unexplored territory yourself, and that's a big part of the excitement and part of the self-discovery of creating the art too. You're moving into this territory, and I know that I feel a certain angst when I'm doing that, a certain tension, and I can't appreciate it until afterwards, or get a sense of accomplishment until afterwards. But I don't know what your experience is with that, Stephen.
No, I'll just briefly say before we end, um, I think that what's very, very normal, even though we understand the whole um, wonderful kind of meeting with yourself as an artist, as a creative person, the idea of challenging and playing with materials and with forms and shapes. Um, I have different moments of my own frustration and my own sense of am I losing the vitality of what I'm trying to create? Am I losing the maybe my own expectation of how I would like to see it finished?
Yeah,
And so, what I do is rather than allow myself to fester with a certain kind of frustration, I will at times just separate myself from the work of art. And I will just call it for that moment quits
Mm,
and come back within an hour or 2 hours of the next day with a fresh energy and even a fresh perspective
hmm
to be able to see where I am without the overlay of the frustration or the annoyance with myself, and just say, hey, I see now where I'm going. I
hmm
see now how I can create a more effective use of the paint and a much more pleasure in creating that next stroke without feeling that it has to be perfect.
I have very similar experience. It's almost like you can go to bed at night and during your sleep, your mind is working in a way you're still painting while you're sleeping.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Yeah. And then when you get up, just like you're saying, you go into the studio and you you feel prepared. You have that new energy, that new perspective, and things often go start to unfold much more naturally.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very
Eric,
interesting
this was great.
process.
This was great.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic.
Well, we really took off with this first pillar. It was a very good,
Yeah.
very
Excellent.
free sharing and kind of just the quality of the conversation, the insights, um, offering the experiences. It kind of always enriches the process of and the journey of you and I doing this channel. So
Yeah,
thank you.
100%, Stephen. I so agree with you. It's I look forward to doing more videos. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe you can just stop the recording for a moment.
Yes, I'll do that now.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any comments you want to put down below would be appreciated,
Yeah,
and
very
things
much.
we could follow up on.
Yes, thank you. Please feel free and uninhibited to give your own feedback about what information you'd like to have shared further in our channel.
Okay. Very good, Stephen. Thank you.
Terrific,
Okay.
Eric.
All right.